Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about I-DLE's latest single, Lion, focusing on a little breakdown of the lyrics and the music video and on the true story that may have inspired the concept behind the song. Lion is probably I-DLE's fiercest comeback to date. The song uses the lion as an imagery for the power and strength of a queen that cannot be tamed even by pain or love. The concept is very interesting because it mixes medieval and Renaissance religious art and African tribal imagery to convey the idea of two worlds that are coming together in the song. But what you may not have realized is that the narrative that they are portraying is actually based off of the true story of Joan of Arc. Now, for those of you who don't know who Joan of Arc is, Joan of Arc was a French heroine who lived in the 15th century. Joan started off as a peasant girl, but after claiming to have received prophetic visions by the Archangel Michael and other religious figures, she became one of the most successful commanders of the French army, to the point that she helped defeat the English in the 100 Years' War. In spite of her military prowess, when she was only 19 years old, she was captured by the English, accused of heresy and burned at the stake. But after her death, the Pope examined her case, absolved her and declared her a martyr. Right off the bat, this story should ring you a bell, because it's very similar to the one told in the opening VCR of the Queendom performance. In the video, we are told that men are fighting a war that has been going on for a very long time. But then, a young girl speaks up and declares herself queen. In contrast to the VCR, Joan of Arc never wanted to be queen, because she was not after power. She thought to be a servant of God and she behaved accordingly. But besides this detail, the two stories match almost completely. When Joan's story begins, she's only 16 years old. She's a young girl with no education and no fortune, but she spoke up, and because of that, people started to follow her and be inspired by her. Despite Joan of Arc was a girl from the 15th century, her bravery and rebellion resonates quite loudly in today's cultural landscape. And I-DLE are paying tribute to her by using her story as a canvas meant to empower girls and help them unleash their inner lion. The lion imagery here is not random at all. It's not just an easy metaphor for power or strength, but an actual historical reference to Joan of Arc, who was known to carry a banner on the battlefield. Now, this banner bore the image of God holding the world and surrounded by two angels. But some versions of the story actually depict a lion on the banner. The lion here is a metaphor for God's power and one of the symbolic animals of the Archangel Michael. So, if the girls actually made this connection on purpose, this implies that their queendom, as well as your own, has divine origins. This is very telling because the references don't stop here. So, let's take a look. At the beginning, Minnie opens by saying that she is a lion and a queen, and that not even pain can cage her. In the music video, this statement is mirrored by a shot of her on display in a museum surrounded by arrows. This could be seen as a reference to the historical nature of their concept and to Joan's experience on the battlefield, but also to the fact that Joan of Arc was actually wounded by 3 arrows while carrying the banner. On a metaphorical level, this implies that the power I-DLE wants to unleash is seen as threatening, which is something they admit themselves later on. With Soyeon's scenes, things start to get interesting. In the video, she is portrayed behind bars and in a fit of rage. And if we see these visuals in relation to Joan of Arc, then these scenes symbolize her imprisonment and the frenzy connected to her prophetic visions. The lyrics here seem to confirm this as well. The first 2 lines mention a blue burning flower under the crimson sunfire, which sounds a bit obscure, doesn't it? But what if we see this as her having visions? Or, most importantly, what if I told you that the 2 symbols that she mentions are actually historically accurate? In the story, Joan of Arc receives visions from Michael, and Michael is the archangel of the sun. The sun here shines over a blue burning flower, and the Joan of Arc coat of arms was a sword, a crown, and 2 fleurs-de-lis, which, you guessed it, are blue flowers. If we see the girls as Joan of Arc in this scenario, here Soyeon is literally prophesying her own death. She is imprisoned, enraged, and while later on she says that she will create a path no one has ever done before, she talks about a blue flower burning. That's Joan of Arc literally going to war and burning at the stake, and Soyeon, who is having visions, is foreshadowing this while in prison. In the song, the girls talk about surrendering to music and being devoted to the dance of the lion. This is important because the dance of the lion literally symbolizes them embracing their strength and rebellion. In the music video, all the members embody some aspect of the Joan of Arc story. We have Minnie in a museum, and she represents the historical significance of her actions. Soyeon, on the other hand, is behind bars, and she portrays her visions and imprisonment. Soojin, instead, is wounded and surrounded by red and gold, so she symbolizes the noble nature of her mission and the strength of the lion. Miyeon is surrounded by weapons and fire, but she is also the center in the white setting. If we put her scenes together, the imagery associated to her represents the violence of war and her burning at the stake, but also a vision of her after death. This leads us to Uki, whose scenes mirror Miyeon's. Here she is portrayed with a golden halo, which is something that conveys her sanctity and purity. But then we see the halo on fire, and this shows us the double nature of Joan of Arc and the reason why she was burned in the first place. Joan of Arc was a warrior and a prophet, so she threatened male supremacy both on the battlefield and in church, and that's why she was burned. Last but not least, we have Shua, who is literally going to war. Here, the dancers carry Roman shields, a symbol of the Church of Rome that Joan supported against the English power. As you can see here, these visuals are not random at all. They're telling you a story, Joan of Arc's story, which is the story of a girl like millions of us who had something to say and said it. As I mentioned earlier, she didn't want any crown or power. She didn't want to be queen, and she didn't see herself as a lion. But she was, because she rebelled and she fought. She spoke up and changed the world, which is what I-DLE are inviting you to do in the song. They want you to awake the lion and become the queen of your own kingdom. They want you to be aware of your power and use it to create your own path to the throne of your life. So that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.